Hey everyone, Willie the Kid here, and today we're going to be talking about the 100,000 Baryon Bough Challenge. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I will go ahead and provide a link below to the original Reddit thread so you can read it for yourself. But essentially, about a week ago, a Redditor posted in the Destiny subreddit saying that Bungie should allow us to pre-order Shadowkeep with Baryon Bough, which we all know is one of the most useless planetary material in the game. And surprisingly, the community manager Cosmo responded to the post basically saying, okay, the first person to farm 100,000 Baryon Bough will get a free collector's edition of Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. So, naturally, all the Guardians that are always looking for a challenge have now signed a lease with Petra and now live in the Dreaming City, and they're farming their hearts away to be the first one to collect 100,000 Baryon Bough. Now, although I know already there's a slim chance of victory, I am actually taking part in the challenge as well. And, for those who are interested in it or, would like some help, the main reason I wanted to make this video is to share what I've learned so far and help people get started with the actual farming process and what they can do to accumulate a large number of Baryon Boughs at a time. So before we get into any of that, let's first address the elephant in the room and, get us out of the way. Is this even possible? And the answer is yes, it is. In one of the updates that changed the way that we interact with our vault, or how our inventory is separated with our vault, the vault no longer separates our items into armor, weapons, consumables, etc. We now have 500 slots to use as we see fit and how we want to use. So essentially, you just need to make sure you have 101 vault spaces to store your Baryon Boughs. And it doesn't just have to be limited to your vault. You can do half in your consumables in your inventory, and then the other half in your vault. You can do 70-30 if you don't want to delete any other consumables. Essentially, you just want to make sure you have 101 inventory slots in general in order to hold all those Baryon Boughs. Easy peasy. And now that that's out the way, we can go ahead and start talking about equipment. And basically, there's only one piece of equipment that you really need for this challenge and for this endeavor, and that's going to be your ghost. So what you're going to want to make sure that your ghost has is, when you look at the perks on the ghost, you want to make sure that it has either one or a combination of the following: Dreaming City Scanner, Dreaming City Combo Detector, Improved Dreaming City Cache Detector, Dreaming City Resource Detector, Dreaming City Cache Detector, or Treasure Hunter. And the reason for these perks specifically is that you're going to be focused more on node and chest collection rather than killing enemies, although killing enemies will be done periodically. So now that, you're done with that and you have your ghost with the proper perks on it, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to look at some of the activities, and you're going to notice that there's so many different things that you can do in the Dreaming City in order to earn Baryon Bough. And I took the liberty and ran every activity that I can think of that actually awards you with Baryon Boughs. And I found that the most rewarding activities are going to be caches, resource nodes, patrols, and bounties. And again, basically how I did this was with my ghost, with the Dreaming City perks attached to it. I went through and I finished patrols, I finished heroic public events, regular public events, the blind well, the strike. I did all of those, and basically the ones that I mentioned before are the activities that I found to be more rewarding. But of course, this is from the test that I've ran, so there's definitely room for error. And so, but if they're, generally I feel like my RNG is not that bad, that the nodes that I've gotten or the Baryon Boughs that I've collected is far off from that. So, again, caches, resource nodes, patrols, and bounties, those are the ones that are going to be more rewarding. And so now that we know which activities that we're actually going to focus on, we can actually get into the farm and the actual process. Now, depending on whether you're going to go about this solo, or if you're lucky enough to have a group of friends that are, actually wanting to help you with this, there are definitely several ways you can go about this. But the process that I found to be most helpful is as follows. The first step, do all your bounties. So if you haven't done your bounties for the day, it refreshes daily. If you haven't, go ahead, go talk to Petra and get all the bounties and get them done. Of course, there's some bounties that she has that you'll be able to do along with the farm. So more commonly, grab the 15 Baryon Bows already. That one you don't have to rush to do first, but it's good to have it just in case. But then there's other ones like Plague Defender or Dreaming Well, the Blind Well bounty, where you have to kill like enemies in a blind well, those kind of things. That's going to detract you from the actual farm. So before you start getting into the habit, make sure those bounties are done first. And then once those are done, you're going to want to pick a starting area and complete some of the area patrols. And by area patrols, I mean the patrols where you must either defeat a number of enemies or the ones where you have to collect a resource from them. So more commonly, I start out in Baryon Mist, and immediately once you start at the spawn point, if you go to your left, there's going to be a one patrol quest giver who basically, that one is kill multiple enemies. That's one of my favorite. And then once that's done, I go to the more northern part of Baryon Mist, and the other one is basically, usually it's collect the Taken essence from the Taken. Those are more of the patrols that you want to aim for because they don't take you out of the area. There's some where it's like learn from Suro Chi, or go to find the wanted target, which sometimes that'll take you towards the Oracle or take you towards the garden, which those areas are not really going to help us as much. So we want to make sure to avoid those patrols as much as possible, because at the end of the day, this is a competition to be the first one. And so once those patrols are done, what you're going to do is just do a quick victory lap around the area, just making sure if there was any new resource nodes that spawned or new cache that spawned, you want to go ahead and collect those. And then once you feel like you've collected all of them, you go ahead and move into a next area, either the Strand or Rhea Sylvia, and lather, rinse, repeat starting from step 2. And essentially, that's my process. So I do know that there are other guardians and streamers out there that have their own different methods. I know one of the more popular methods out there is they just go to the Aphelios Rest Lost Sector and they will just farm that over and over again. But I personally feel like, with that Aphelios Rest method, you're missing out on a lot of nodes and caches, which, again, in my case, I've seen those grant more Baryon Bows than the Lost Sector completion. I think with mine, the Lost Sector completion was more of the most I've gotten was like 2 Baryon Bows, and the most I've gotten from a cache was actually 6 Baryon Bows. So I personally, for me, I would recommend, or I am focusing more on going around collecting nodes and Baryon Bow nodes and the caches, rather than going in and out of a Lost Sector. But again, there are several ways to go about this. There are several ways you can do this farm. So I encourage you, have a starting base, see which works for you, which works well for your group of fire team, and adjust accordingly. There's no wrong way to do this except to not do it at all. But really, that's all I've got for you, and that is the 100,000 Baryon Bough challenge. Please feel free to leave a comment or a like or anything, the standard YouTube thing, or leave a comment below on your thoughts about this method in particular. If there's anything that I'm missing, or if there's any tips or tricks that you would like to add in, maybe to kind of help, or maybe your thoughts or opinion, anything below. Any tips or any advice works. But other than that, that's all I have for you today. Good luck out there, and until then, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.